Well, we had a great talk with Rose, and yeah, guys, I think I need to do this video only because Rose and Lynn, as they're talking, we realize that how much we've run into exactly the same problems. First and foremost is finding land and understanding the complexities of how to do it. One is that if you buy the land, as I've always said, do not pay earnest money. Take them to the lawyer right away and do all the paperwork. Now, the next caution is paying these capital gains taxes and stuff. In the Philippines, it is extremely common that you, the purchaser, pay the capital gains on the property and pay the BIR, which is their tax, okay? If you don't pay them, you don't get your tax declaration, and the fees are not cheap. Maybe cheap relative to your currency, but really, why? If you're going to make pull the trigger on buying some land, then make sure that happens. Again, this is just listening to Lynn and Rose talking, and so none of this is directly related to ourselves or directly related to Rose, but again, I point out how much common stuff is going on here. So another thing is land. Be careful when you go to buy your land, guys. Look at how many vlogs that we've all watched out there and seen some of the pitfalls that can be involved. Road access to your property has probably got to be the biggest one. You buy this land, and then the next thing you know, the owner says, well, that wasn't part of the parcel, and you go, what are you talking about? This is supposed to be an access road. Now you got to buy it now. So, and that stuff happens all the time, guys, all the time. When we bought our property, we knew going in that we were going to have to donate some of our property for the road allotment. Okay, that's just how it is. Run into it all the time. Of course, my first reaction was, great, resurvey it, tell them that's what the city is, and now you take responsibility for that road. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. But the taxes are so low that nobody does it. Titling the property, of course, is another issue. People want to buy titled property. Not so easy here, because again, people don't want to spend anything, not a centavo, when they are looking to sell their property. So that can also be quite a challenge from that standpoint, okay? So, but let's face it, guys, we're going through the titling process right now, and it just takes a little bit of time. It's not that expensive. Just get it done after the fact, if you find it necessary, because this whole country works on their tax declarations as being gospel that you own the property. Of course, you've got your deed of sale and all of that type of thing as well. Searching for land online, never, ever, ever go sight unseen just because of pictures, okay? We saw land that literally they were selling the ocean because the land used to be there, but you're not allowed to build there. So, it was 400 square meter lot on the ocean, but the ocean had already reclaimed the lot. So where the fence was for the other person, they now have beachfront. Altitude above the ocean. Don't go on high tide, low tide. Don't do it if you're going to be that close. You need to calculate storm surging into your calculation, okay? Storm surges can be, look at Tacloban. I don't know how high that was, but that was like, 10 feet of storm surge. A little unusual, pretty extreme, but the main point is that you really should be looking at that kind of stuff, okay? Is your property an old field that's part of the agrarian system that's flat land, and the upstream mountains and everything might be prone to flooding your land? And if you think that there's any recourse on saying to the government, hey, look at you guys got to divert the water, channel it, and, you know, do all that stuff. Meh, it ain't gonna happen here. Okay, just be aware of all of that. So, like I say, lots of common stuff here, guys, to be aware of. I think the main thing is make sure that you have it surveyed before you buy it. You're going to have to put out a few centavos to do that, but that's just reality of purchasing property. Again, they will not spend a centavo on it. And you do not want to trust the agents or the landowner or any of that stuff. Because like I said, a number of these lots that we looked at, well, yes, you have a right-of-way road here. And I said, who owns the right-of-way? Well, this owner owns it over here, but it is a right-of-way. And so we said, is it in the survey drawings at the municipal hall? And so I think one of those we had to ask for the drawing, and no, that road was not formally allocated to people or to the city so that everybody had access through that road. So be aware of all of this stuff, guys. The romance of the tropics is not, it is not what you think it is, okay? Sure not in the Philippines. 100 million people, and if you compare my province in British Columbia, and you compare that to the Philippine landmass, I think it's just under 5 Philippine countries can fit in our province. We've got 5 million people in the province of BC, roughly, and they have roughly 100 million people. You do the math. That's like having half a billion people walking around in Canada's province of BC only. So, you know, space between people is just not what you think it is. Now, the other last kind of cautionary note on all of this is people that are selling their property in and around where you're looking for a property. You have to remember, the money people are in the city. The money people are looking for a vacation home. The money people are looking for party. And you are not in the city in a lot of these situations, and you really have no recourse over noise, okay? Yeah, you just have to really be careful. Like I've said in the past, go sit on the land on the weekend. Go there after dark. Go there, you know, after 10. Do all of this stuff. You just don't know what you're going to run into. And so, you know, be very careful. I will say the same thing about moving to where your lady's family is. Be sure that you're going to be comfortable there, guys. Sure, that first year, 2, 3 years might feel comfortable, but spend some time really asking yourself some serious questions. Okay, there we go. Later, Gators.